happy. Let's go. Come on.
The Ground Report with Mickie K, Andy Williams, and Lennox Smith.
Where my Islanders? Can some of y'all run your hands in the front real quick? I gotta know who's in the building. Where my Islanders?
Bang, bang, bang.
Come on, let me see ya.
With Mickie K, Andy Williams, and Lennox Smith.
Bang, bang, bang.
I believe, say it. I believe you. I trust. Come on. In you. Oh Lord. Jehovah, you. Where you at? Come on. I trust in you. I believe, say it.
We must make government work for the people rather than have the people work to keep a government in place. We must make government work for the people rather than have the people work to keep a government in place.
I believe, say it.
Bang, bang, bang.
Come on, let your feet get heavy. Let's go. Come on. Somebody make some noise in here. Come on, catch it, Jehovah. I trust in you. Oh Lord, say it. Come on, Jehovah, I trust in you. I believe, say it, everybody say it. I believe you. I trust. Come on. In you. Jump got your part over here. I can't hear you. Come on, say it. I trust. Say it. In you. I believe. Say it. You are the God of miracles. You are the God of miracles. You are the God of wonders. You are the God of powerful. I believe. Say it. I believe. Say it. Now everybody get radical for 30 seconds. Come on, dance on the devil's head. Come on. Y'all ain't radical enough over here. Balcony, I can't feel ya. Move your feet, everybody. Let's go. I see you back there, balcony. Y'all gotta come on. Hey, come on.
Bang, bang, bang.
Bye-bye. Come on, y'all, help me say it. Goodbye to my pain and my sorrow. So long. Y'all catch it, everybody. Come on, say it. So long.
Bang, bang, bang.
Goodbye to my pain and my sorrow.
The Ground Report with Mickie K, Andy Williams, and Lennox Smith.
Everybody in the building say so long. So long. Hey, come on. So long. Goodbye to my pain. So long. Just one more time in the balcony. Everybody say it. Say so long. Goodbye to my pain and my sorrow.
Oh, yes, indeed.
So long, hey, so long, yeah, so long, hey, so long, yeah, so long, yeah, so long, hey, so long, yeah, so long. Goodbye to my sorrow, goodbye to my pain.
bang, 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 bang,
Good doctor, you ain't welcome here.
The Ground Report with Mikey K, Andy Williams, and Lennox Smith.
So long, yeah, so long, yeah.
Yes, indeed. A pleasant good morning to all and sundry, East, West, North, South, Central, or Friends and Tobago. And wherever you are, streaming on the World Wide Web, a pleasant good day to you. Indeed, Murphy's Law normally would, of course, obtain in situations like this, where, of course, you work based on circumstances beyond your control. Andy is unavoidably, of course, late this morning. And therefore, of course, work has to continue. And as a consequence of that, as typical, as we would normally say, typical Boy Scouts style, you have to be ready for any occasion. Well, of course, I had to respond appropriately. So, thus my presence and, of course, the absence temporarily of that of Andy Williams this morning. Of course, I am not, normally my role will not be to appreciate or acknowledge the wide and broad and deep audience and respondents to our efforts on a morning. So I will just merely go into the news scenario, and then, of course, we will try to open up the lines, but hopefully two things should happen by then. Either Andy returns or of course, the technical person that is supposed to deal with the instruments that are in master control, where Andy, of course, is located, will take, of course, the responsibility to treat with, of course, calls and callers, as well as your voicemails or voice notes. Let me say off the cuff that the number to call is 225-6644, 225-6644, and the other number to get us in studio at Master Control is 239-5120, 239-5120. And then, of course, to drop a voicemail, which I expect to be in plentiful this morning because of the non-presence temporarily of Andy, is 366-3053, 366-3053. So that's the place where you will deposit your voicemails and any other things that is on your mind, that, of course, is palatable, not, of course, offensive, and would not, of course, attract any attention from that in terms of airing credibility or airing acceptability. So I want to make that very clear. So you can, because on many occasions, as you would have noticed, many of the voicemails are not vetted, are not edited, raw, undiluted, and in real time, to a large degree. Real time here meaning that whilst, of course, you may have deposited it and it may not have been played instantaneously, the fact is that we have a program to run, and Andy will be multitasking, and therefore when time to air those mails, he would not have the opportunity to vet. So that we ask in advance that you be decent, you be sensitive to the fact that we are subjected to fundamental rules of good airing or good journalistic principles that would mean that you cannot be and must not be obscene. And while, of course, we will protect your right to speak, it must be with the understanding that there are others who may be offended by some of the caustic statements that may be made or may be attempted, and therefore or we would be caught in the middle, and then your program, of course, will be in jeopardy as a consequence. Very, very, very important as far as those voicemails are concerned. So once again, the number to call for voicemail purposes is that of 366 3053, 366 3053. And of course, you will be able to get your views aired on the number one program on morning, the Ground Report. That being as it may, let me, of course, go straight to the news. So it is Friday morning, yes, already the 29th? Yes, it is, yes, the 29th of August. So 2 more days in the month, having 31 days. And of course, all eyes and all focus will be on back to school, even though there was there is an extra week, but all focus will be there. I know that right here in our resource center, our developmental and empowerment center, we have had quite a number of inquiries as well as indirect delivery to parents and anxious students who are wearing and ready to go back to school, having had, of course, a very long recess from school. And of course, I want to thank all of those book carriers or businesses that have participated in our back to school drive, requiring uniforms, books, and of course the sponsoring of whole students, so from uniform, shoes to books as well. And that is, of course, in spite of the presence and the overture of the Ministry of Education, the Ministry of Social Development, of the People and Social Development, who themselves have facility for the provision of books. I know that checks, over 14,000 checks, I understand, is either ready, but are being distributed in different phases. The first phase, of course, I don't know how they will do it, but they said that they will distribute first and foremost, which is a good thing, to those who are most vulnerable. But once, of course, you are on that program, I would expect that all will be vulnerable, but I suppose they have their system where they don't want over congesting of the delivery mechanism, which I suspect would either be at the various school supervisor offices, and you will have to make the necessary inquiry. That is both, of course, a piece of information as well as, of course, trying to assist the ministry to distribute in an orderly fashion without the chaos and mayhem that normally attends when you have mass conversion on governmental offices. We see that too often at the Treasury, for example, outside the Treasury when there's a payday. And of course, the mechanism to remedy that is to send people's checks straight to the banks, and therefore avoiding the congestion and the logistical nightmare and bureaucratic constraints for both, or should I say for all players, the recipients, the administrators, and those, of course, who are engaged in the actual preparation of these checks. Are talking about, of course, the accountants and those who have to sign, such as the permanent secretary and others who, from time to time, will be called upon to perform such tasks to deliver to the people as efficaciously as possible. I think that we need to understand. So once again, of course, back to school, the order of the day, and we here on the Ground Report have no choice, of course, but to focus on that as well. But there are some other stories that we need to take note of. And of course, man 22 charged for kidnapped victim murder. That as well, a young businessman. It took place in there, but I think the businessman operations would have been somewhere to the Pune, an upholstery business that he would have had, well loved, well liked, and customers are still those who I understand that were not aware that he was in fact he lost his life as a consequence of that act. Have been coming and then of course being confronted and died in such tragic circumstance that it brings all kinds of emotions to the fore, being human beings as we are. But the fact of the matter is that someone has been held for his murder. Let's hope it's the right person, and let's hope that the evidence is such that if it is the right person, that justice prevails. And you know why I'm saying if it is the right person, because we have a system in this country that says that you are innocent until proven guilty. And the only so you could be proven guilty, short of being psychic or being some kind of fortune or foreteller, is that you have objective evidence to show, whether it be scientific or otherwise, to be presented to an objective and independent tribunal, which is all part of the process, because we are only human and we cannot say what is in a man's mind, and we cannot, of course, be in several places at the same time, and we rely, of course, on hard evidence to convict a person. That's the system we have. Otherwise, we will be taking the role of God, and of course, none of us can be so obnoxious to suggest that they are. Even though, of course, we have some politicians who try to project themselves as knowing everything. Well, they are not omniscient. The Almighty Creator did not provide us with that ability. Maybe sometime in the future, when we rejoin Him in paradise, maybe then you will have that kind of ability. But so far, human beings have not been given that, and therefore you have to rely on objective evidence in order to convict someone within the context of an independent tribunal. Very, very important. People who have no interest in the matter and are there to adjudicate. And at the end of the day, the evidence that is presented will determine whether or not that person is guilty or not guilty. Penny tells Stuart, that is Stuart Young, we have a country to save. Well, of course, that statement to Stuart Young was as a consequence of him having eye surgery for cataract. I find it strange that a young man like that will have. People are subjected to all kinds of things. Because some people may say at my age, they're surprised that I don't have it. But cataract, of course, which is of course a growth that blocks the visual ability of an individual, and therefore it is remedied by surgery, cutting off the excess, let's say, feature that will cause that darkness and obscure one's vision. So she was making the statement in that context, saying that get well quick, in other words, because we have a country to save. Of course, that is more fluff, more projecting some issue that really and truly does not exist. And if it has to be saved, well, it has to be saved from the very people who are saying that they have a country to save, and that is, of course, Penny and her 12, additional 12, 13 of them. The country has to be saved from them in opposition, and the country save itself from them because they were in government and performed disastrously. And so to suggest that somehow the country is in jeopardy at this point in time is a figment of a very, what I consider to be fertile imagination. That being as it may, let's go further. Police arrest 3 after Mayaro robbery. This one is a very interesting one. I'll get back to it in a little while. Yes, 3 after Mayaro robbery. I'll give a little detail on that a little later. Bandits to break through gas station wall to steal oil and cash. Well, that's another hilarious component, but very serious in the sense that we continue to see these kinds of crime being committed. And I know that home invasion has not escaped that cadre of preferred areas for these delinquent elements to engage and to frustrate and to menace the people of Trinidad and Tobago. Whether it's 1, 2, or 3, whether it is every week or one every day or hour, that is too much. And therefore, in every circumstance, we have to find ways and means of eradicating that. Of course, the question of home invasion and the consultation as a consequence of the statement made by the government now, having, of course, made a campaign promise to have stand your ground legislation in place, is pursuing a pace. And one expects that at the end of the day, that piece of legislation will become law, and so that, of course, the prospective victims will have a piece of legislation to protect them. And, of course, prospective perpetrators, we hope, will not escape the justice system as a consequence of the penalties that would be attached to that piece of legislation, as far as, of course, anyone breaching that piece of legislation. But it's a protection for the victims, and, of course, exposes the perpetrators. So I say to the perpetrators immediately that check yourself, because the law will come and it will be very retributive and harsh for you in more ways than one, especially if you meet somebody with a licensed firearm and you invade their premises. I want to say this as well, that I have taken the opportunity at this point in time, as far as that consultation is concerned across the country, to invite both former Attorney Generals, Mr. Ramesh Lawrence Maraj and that of Anand Ramlogan, to, of course, our resource center here on George Street in Port-of-Spain, in a community that is nestled in East Port-of-Spain. And I'll tell you why I have invited them to address the very question as part of the consultatory process that has been initiated by the government. And that is, more than likely, the perpetrators will come from communities like this. I make no bones, and I say so without fear of contradiction. The likelihood that the perpetrators of the act that has caused consultation on stand your ground legislation would come from communities like this or like these. I make no apology, because it is a fact. And so I have asked them in my letter to inviting them to come at the center to, of course, address the question of stand your ground legislation that is now engaging the national community by virtue of consultation. I've asked them to address the specific area as it pertains to prospective and that there is a law that is in place, and that my hope ultimately is that they will mend their ways so that you dull the effectiveness of that piece of law when it becomes law. Listen to me carefully. I say that I have asked both the former Attorney Generals, Ramesh Lawrence Barrage and that of Anand Ramlogan, by virtue of an invitation to address the question of stand your ground legislation as part of the consultancy or consultant process, or the making the population aware of what is to come and the content of that particular legislation. And I have asked them to specifically address the whole question of the perpetrators and to, in a sense, warn them to not engage, to desist from engaging. And so, of course, as a result of that, the law may not be utilized in a way that the present circumstance requires such a law. In other words, if we had it already, many of the instances could have been easily resolved because people could have stand their ground in their respective homes, etc., etc. Quite apart, of course, from the fact that they are reviewing the whole question of firearms license for persons and having it more easily available. So all of that will be discussed. So I thought it was important to share that with you from a different perspective, because all the perspective, as you would appreciate to date, will be to defend and to let the prospective victims know their rights. This particular consultation is to let the perpetrators, the prospective perpetrators, understand that if they engage, there is a piece of legislation that is coming that will not be kind to them, and they therefore desist from engaging. And thus, of course, my argument that my hope is that it will dull the effectiveness, or put another way, there will be no need to utilize that piece of legislation when it becomes law in any consistent and regular fashion. Of course, that is my hope. Whether it materializes, of course, will the proof of the pudding will be, of course, in and when that piece of legislation becomes formally law through the usual parliamentary process. All right, bandits break through gas station wall to steal oil and cash. This reminds me of a situation in Laventille, and I want to pause, of course, to really share that with you, because you see, it is important that we understand that while there may be concerns, and there is concerns about crime and criminality, sometimes decisions are made that would further augment, exacerbate the situation. And it needs to be said. I think the example that I'm giving will poignantly, will pointedly address that particular situation. Listen, we had a situation where on the eastern main road, the gas station between the first gas station you will meet for those who may not know, the first gas station you meet traveling east along the eastern main road. The first gas station you meet is nestled in Laventille. Once you are leaving Port of Spain, you must see that gas station on the left-hand side in heading east. So whether you're going to Mova, whether you're going to, of course, Sanwo and farther afield. But that gas station was up for concessionaire arrangement with NP, because NP is in charge of that. And both Archbishop Barbara Gray Burke and myself saw it as an opportunity, because one of the difficulties with that particular gas station was that it was being attacked and was the victim of robberies upon robberies and so on. And of course, that has been the case with all the gas stations, as far as my understanding is, once they're nestled in Lavington. So you had one on the back road, we used to call it Tallboy gas station, that has closed down. Another one on the St. Joseph Road, we call it the back road, but heading east as well. And that's a one-way these days, so you could only go east. And of course, there's another one at the corner, or was at the corner of Mova Old Road and St. Joseph Road. So there are two. And of course, this one that I'm referring to now on the eastern main road has always been there as well. But it still exists. So we thought have to respond to the advertisement from NP to, of course, apply for the concessionaire contract. And we did so. Very elaborate document, of course, in it indicating, because we recognize why it was closed down, and why, of course, while it was under renovation and NP was looking for a concessionaire, that we would make an application, because we are living in the community, we work in the community. In fact, Archbishop Barbara Gray Burke's home is at the top of the street that bounds that particular gas station on the western side. Yes, and that street that goes there, Espinette Street, that street at the top of it, you can't help but see Archbishop Barbara Gray Burke's home. And so we thought we are the right people to make that investment. And of course, in it, there's a space at the back, a physical space at the northern boundary, let's put it that way, or the northern side of the gas station, that we say that once business flows and we have the resources, we will put a sort of internal sporting facility, maybe tennis, and have, of course, a place for the young people to meet and recreate, etc. It's not large enough to have football tournaments and so on, except, of course, if you make certain arrangements. But certainly, these indoor type sporting activities, whether it be draft, whether it be all fours, etc. And we put that into the proposal as well. I'm telling you all this because of what the outcome was and what the situation is today. And having done that, we submitted. The proposal was rejected. And of course, we learned subsequently that the Police Welfare Association, so you understand where I'm coming from now, the Police Welfare Association got the concessionaire instead of us. And we thought, well, why that has to be? So we inquired from NP as to why the Police Welfare Association would have gotten the concessionaire, as is the case today, rather than us, who are part of the community, who have an interest in the community. And of course, if it is that the fact that gas station would have been subjected to multiple robberies, that we would have been in the best place, of course, to avert, and not that we could eliminate. We are not that naive, but certainly, of course, we could avert quite a number of situations like that. Guess what? When we inquired as to why the Police Welfare Association, because we were laboring under the notion that why give the police essentially a business that will be, whether you like it or not, once you have gas, it will sell. So it is a viable business. It is a profitable business. Let's not waste time. In spite of the profit margin, as complained by some of the owners of these gas stations. But the fact is that once you have gas, it will sell. So therefore, it's a profitable exercise. And we thought, well, based on what we intend to do for the community, And that by itself, and given the fact that Archbishop Barbara Greenberg is not a person that you will take slightly and will not deliver what, of course, is expected of her under the concessionary arrangement with NP. Well, we were not surprised, yet still we were shocked that NP told us that gas station was given to the police because of security issues. And we understood that, but we still felt that we were better positioned to treat with that matter. And more importantly, is that you are laying the foundation and the precedent for the police not functioning. That is our argument, whether you like it or not. Whether because I know that police officers are listening as well, so I'm going to tell them flat. Our position has been that instead, why give the police a gas station to manage when you should be constructing police station? And the very purpose for NP providing that facility to the police was because they felt that the gas station will be more secure if the police is involved in the business. But our argument has been that not only must you focus on providing police stations for the police, but if it is that they succeed, and they have in fact succeeded, on the basis that the gas stations are being robbed, then it's logical to me that you are providing an incentive where the police may feel, well, listen, they could get all the gas stations in the country by simply ignoring. I'm not being facetious here, but I am being as practical as possible, and to, of course, defend our own position, and to not cast any aspersions on the police. But I must be hypothetical and say that what is preventing the police to ignore those kinds of situations where gas stations are robbed so they could get that very profitable and lucrative concession? That is the argument that we use. And we told NP that. And we told them as well that does not mean that it will not be robbed. Well, I want to tell you that I know for sure that very gas station was robbed under the watchful eyes, according to NP, of the police. It having been given to the Police Welfare Association. Yes, and much me. I am saying so because the recent robbery reminds me of that particular robbery, because what the perpetrators did, what the transgressors did, I don't know what they use. Normally, you will use a sledgehammer for that. Well, they bust a hole in the back of the station, of the gas station, let's say office area, bust a hole, and went away with the entire vault. and that is a police gas station. And that gas station was subjected to that under the police, but yet still NP said that they couldn't, by way of natural, let's say, synergy, will be able to protect the gas station, and the robbers will respect them more. Obviously, that is the logic. And they gave them as well the gas station that you would see on the Beetham as well, next to Serval, and the first gas station. Again, you meet when you are coming out of Port of Spain, or the last one you will meet if you're going to Port of Spain, on the Beetham Highway. I rest my case, because this situation where bandits break through a gas station wall to steal oil and cash, this is a recent one where that happened, of course, to the one in Laventille on the eastern main road, of which I referred to. and in similar circumstances. I don't know if they have a syndicate, the bandits and them, and that is a modus operandi. They break in walls in order to access the vault and the monies and the items that would have been within, of course, the confines of that of the gas stations. But the point I am making is that I think that NP did a disservice to the Laventille community by giving the police the gas station to manage under the pretext or under the intent that that people will be afraid to, of course, rob them. But that has proven to be wrong, and we have been proven to be right. Right. So I want to make that very, very clear. And I thought that this particular recent development gave me an opportunity to, of course, express that concern that was then and still is today. So NP, there's a new board. I want you to, of course, rethink that position. That is a lucrative business. But as I said, I labored under the possibility, casting no aspersion, but under the possibility that it will not be to the benefit, if they want to get other gas stations, for the police to be as should I say, not effective, but to be as robust as possible in investigating gas station robbery, because of course the possibility exists that they could get it and therefore expand their own agenda, whether it is through the police service welfare association or otherwise. And therefore the logic, the common sense that would have applied for giving the police that particular gas station, as I said, in preference to us who are part and parcel of the community and are living there. And we believe that they should be given police stations rather than gas stations. I think it is a very valid one and one that should be revisited. All right, that being as it may, of course, other stories that are taking place. Don't forget, of course, the people, as soon as Andy is available, he will let me know. He will be late this morning, and so I have to take on the responsibility. And of course, I told him that I will do so because I had intended to leave early. And I got up this morning, and our main supply of internet was not available, but we have an alternative one, which we supply to the entire immediate community. Well, I am on that right now. And if you are getting any static or anything like that, it's because other people are using it, and not because we have to use it. I'm going to cut off or change the password, etc., so that they will not have. No, I will be using it as they are using it. And if there are too many people on it and you're getting some static this morning, well, it's because of that. So let me let you know that one time. That being as it may, we have, of course, a fire destroys a block of Pointe-à-Pierre School. So here it is at the twilight, or should I say at the penultimate week before the opening of school, the week before school opens. Here it is, we have this tragic situation with respect to a Pointe-à-Pierre School. Understand that that is on the compound of what would have been called the Petrotrin, or the oil refinery, because I mean it's Pointe-à-Pierre talking about. So anything in Pointe-à-Pierre one expects is connected to the then Petrotrin, and therefore the oil, let's say, establishment that the Pointe-à-Pierre oil refinery would have, of course, brought to that community, apart from the work and the sense of security and well-being and the standard of living and quality of life and good paying jobs, etc. So that particular school block has been destroyed by fire. One hopes that repairs will be done before, preferably the the advent or the commencement of school, the new school year. I want to also say that I understand that just about 75 students of the over 300 students of the school would have been affected. So it means that maybe if repairs are not done on time, maybe some alternative arrangements can be made. But of course, one hope that every single student will be back to school and that they are not discommoded or they are not their school activities are not disrupted as a consequence of that, at least not for too long. TCL generates record forex earnings. Very, very important because whether you say serendipity, whether Rowley and Stuart Young and they would claim that it's because of what they did that the TCL is making record forex foreign exchange these days, as they have, of course, boldfacedly and without any kind of compunction and unconscionable, they would, of course, take credit for the arrangement with Exxon coming back into Trinidad and Tobago after a very long hiatus or absence. I want to say that that is neither here nor there, because I want people to understand, if you want to believe the narrative of the opposition, that it is nonsensical, it is asinine, it is dotish, it is self-serving, and of course, it does not bring any credit, political or otherwise, to the opposition, simply because I want to say two things, as I did yesterday, because we have to work on fundamental principles and common sense. That is, that government is a continuum. Let me repeat, government is a continuum. It does not mean, in other words, the debt accumulated by the last administration, the present administration could ignore and just move on and wipe the slate clean. No, they have to absorb and they have to pay all of the debts, or what portion of it they can during their tenure, which would have been accumulated by the last administration. As indeed, the previous Kamala Prasad-Bissessa administration had to treat with debts that would have been accumulated by the Manning era administration of the PNM and government in this country. And that is the cycle. So let us not waste time with that. So that's the first thing. So let's just disabuse that. So taking credit is irrelevant in circumstances where there is a palpable, tactile, and obvious benefit to Trinidad and Tobago. So whether the timing for the PNM was bad or good is irrelevant. But you cannot stop them from talking. After all, this is a democracy, and they will do it. Because anybody could argue as well that the $10 billion that the PNM inherited in 2015 in reserve, and the Heritage and Stabilization Fund over $5 billion. I talk about USA, and of course excess liquidity of over $5 billion in the banks and so on in 2015 that the PNM would have inherited. Based on their logic, it means that therefore that the UNC could naturally claim that it was because of them that they have inherited all of that based on their logic. But of course, with respect to those very areas, the reserve, the Heritage and Stabilization Fund, and of course excess liquidity, when one looks at the situation today, after the 28th of April, what the UNC and Kamala Prasad-Bissessa, Honorable Prime Minister, has inherited, well, they have inherited in reserve. Some say 5, but I prefer to say it's closer to 4. Of course, we will know when the budget statement is read, because that is an imperative. It cannot be a short sight or oversight or an omission by of the as they decide. He has not announced a date as yet, but it is incumbent of him to say how much was in reserve that they met in office, and you would see it is much, at least less than the 10 billion that the PNM inherited. Let us not waste time with that. But of course, the PNM will not want you to know that. So that Imbert today will be saying that the government doesn't have any money, etc. Well, it doesn't have any money because of their reckless spending and their incompetence and impotence and inability to manage the finances of the country. That much is clear, pellucid. Cannot be argued. Cannot be argued. So, what is the situation with respect to the Heritage and Civilization Fund? We don't know. They told us that of course, the last government, Imbert himself being, of course, the minister, and it is very, very uncanny, stupid, and totally obtuse, foolish to be making a claim to suggest somehow government doesn't have money that is the cause of the government, when in fact you are shooting yourself in both legs. Sorry, so pardon me for the pun on shooting, having of course been subjected over the last 9 years under the PNM to so much violence. But I think this term is appropriate here. Shooting yourself in both legs by saying that the government doesn't have money. What does that try to suggest? That somehow it is as a result or the fault of the present government, when in fact it would have been his management of the economy under a Rowley, short, young, ephemeral PNM government that created that situation of which he spoke, that the government doesn't have. If he believes that the government doesn't have any money, it's as a result of the ill-fated policies, monetary and fiscal, and management of the economy and our financial resources by no other than the man who is claiming that the government doesn't have any money and has the audacity, the temerity somehow to believe that that will give him some kind of, and the PNM, some kind of political currency. He then says, he then add to that nonsensicality that the monies that are being spent by the present government is repurposed borrowings made by his government when he was in office. It doesn't add value to anything, and what it does, however, is of course indict him by way of a oblique or indirect confession by him that the last administration had made a mess of our finances, our economy, and thus, of course, inherited by the present administration, and therefore they have, of course, the responsibility, as they have indicated, not cry for 5 years, 9 years, Rowley and them, the UNC did this, UNC did that, and you are in charge and large. Well, the UNC is of a different ilk. They say in no uncertain terms, while of course they will identify the flaws and the inequities or the iniquities, they will be steadfast and focused on what? On the job at hand to save Trinidad and Tobago. This is the saving mission, if there could ever be one, for Trinidad and Tobago moving forward with this government under the under the astute leadership of Kamala Prasad, this is a Prime Minister at this time. Let us not waste time. So we are clear in our minds that these people are either in a state of cognitive and intellectual decline, they can't think straight, and therefore every single thing they say, you could harken back to them. And what has been inherited, the present administration will not focus as they did, but will be looking at the job ahead. And with, of course, that perspective, you could only advance the cause of Trinidad and Tobago. It was important, of course, to say that because, as I said, TCL says that they have generated record foreign exchange earnings. Political, it is as a result of the present administration, I see no reason why you can't say, even if it's for political benefits, you can't say that it's because of the change of government, because of the advent of the UNC. TCL now is talking about record foreign earnings, foreign exchange earnings. So eat your heart out, PNM, eat your heart out, Penelope Beckles, eat your heart out, Imbert, and continue, of course, with your nonsensicality that the logic in it cannot be found. It is so infinitesimally small, cannot be found, almost invisible. So that is another issue that is making the news today. So look at it. Of course, I have seen this other article will, of course, I'm sure that you too would have attracted your attention. And that is PM falls at Java cricket closing ceremony. You have those who are prepared to make fun of it. You have others who are extremely concerned one way or another. But I would take the explanation of the Honorable Prime Minister as to the circumstances that led her to have slipped in the way that she explained. And I have my own theory as well, because I say give me credit as well, because of course I have a master's in criminology, so I could look at these matters off the cuff and say and give my own, let's say, chronology of events. And it is clear that the person who was in front of her, headed in front of her to the podium or to the place where she was going, either stepped on it had to be plyboard they would have used, or some other material that is pliable, and his weight may have raised just before she was able to put her feet on the piece that he had already been on, and that weight, the weight of him, may have raised a piece of the ply, and therefore the edge of that ply, one of her feet would have been caught in it, and therefore she stumbled, and thus, of course, the accident. That is how I saw it. So a person rush ahead, which is usually, of course, is the security detail that will do that, but did not know that probably the piece of ply or whatever material that the artificial flooring would have been made of, because clearly it was a grassy area, and they tried to make, of course, smooth for purposes like this, which is normal. And what transpired is that one of her feet would have gotten trapped in between, and thus, of course, she stumbled. But of course, I think what is important, because there are those who are going to make fun of it, but I think what is important is the way how she, of course, used it as an object lesson to young people, because it was young people that she was, of course, addressing at the time, talking about cricketers. And she said in no uncertain terms that at times you will stumble, but you get back up. You may have, of course, not catch a particular ball that might have been crucial for the game, but that doesn't mean to say that future balls you won't catch coming to you. And I thought that was splendid. And it reminds me, of course, of Roger Alexander, when, of course, somebody called him a dance. I think it was Marvelous Marva. Marvin. Sorry, former utilities and of course national security minister in the PNM administration. And of course, he said in uncertain terms that of course when you are unfamiliar and you would have entered unfamiliar territory, determined of course to learn and to deliver, and at the end of the day, you may have stumbled in the beginning, as he did of course in his inaugural or should I say first address in the parliament, but he came back fine, well, nice, and so on. Of course, to date, Marvin is only able to respond to that object lesson that he converted that attempt to castigate and to render silly in the presence of Roger Alexander, that is, the current Minister of Home Security, to try to humiliate him. He was able, of course, to bounce back beautifully. And that is what life is all about. You see, I believe in what is called the existential philosophy. The existentialists believe, and I'm talking here too to, of course, those young people in particular in East Port of Spain, Laventille, and so on. Only give me an opportunity to do it. Andy give me an opportunity to do it. So until he comes, I will of course utilize it the best as I can. But of course, it has connotations or implications, or should I say, it will resonate with others, not just in the area, the specific geographic area that I'm referring to, and for which I'm extremely proud to be a part of, as well as delivering, working in. Well, to these young people in East Port of Spain, Laventille, Beetham, Sealats, of course, Chumacac, Belmont, and farther afield in these urban areas, classified, of course, by the police as crime hotspots. I want to tell you that not because you are born into poverty, not because your friends are engaged, maybe in criminal behavior or negative behavior. It may be, of course, excessive smoking on the block and so on, for which you have to find money, and having a perpetual, let's say, blissful feeling. And then, of course, the next opportunity cannot come simply because you are not working, and therefore you cannot earn, or you're not earning. And so temptation into other areas to relieve people of their hard earnings. This is important. The existentialist philosophy says that all of us are human beings endowed with the capacity to think and to address issues. Let me repeat. The ability to think and address issues. So not because you are born into poverty and that your environment is one, social as well as physical, is not equal to that of, or not close to, those in Westmoreland and of course Alsane and so on. That you are going to say that because of that, I have no choice. That term is called deterministic, meaning that you, and maybe the more appropriate term is fatalistic. It's fatalistic. You're born into that. You experience it. All the negatives. And you say, listen, I have to be that. So therefore, I am going to perpetuate or continue with that cycle. And so generations after generations after generations of poverty. I say to you that many a people, I born in Laventille too, Laventillian, but the fact of the matter is that I've never made the environment, social and physical, healthy, unhealthy as they would have been, to constrain me to emasculate me. And so too many others who have, of course, come through that process. Like, of course, a raw diamond. Raw diamonds look ugly and so on, but when they are refined and processed, I mean, it's invaluable. Invaluable means, of course, it has so much value that you can't calculate the value. Invaluable doesn't mean the opposite. And so I'm saying to you, young people, and of course I'm saying so in the context of my proposed and my letter to, of course, both the former attorney generals. I'm talking about Ramesh Maharaj and, of course, not Ramdean, the former attorney general Ram Logan. Yes, I'm saying that's why I asked them to look at the Stand Your Ground legislation from the perspective of the potential perpetrators, and to let you know that there is something that is coming, that if you continue on that route or you are so inclined, then of course you know what the consequences are: jail, death, etc., etc. Early death, I should say. So I'm saying all of that to say that your circumstance does not dictate the way that your future will be. And there's no need, because there are opportunities that are within and without, meaning outside, that you can, of course, focus. But the problem here is this: the question of the ability to be patient, one, the ability to accept your circumstances, one, that is not equal to that of the fella in Westmoreland, etc., in good circumstance, in well-to-do communities, so-called. And therefore, you have to work harder in order to achieve. But what is important? Utilizing your God-given ability to think and to know that what is right and what is wrong. And to understand that perseverance eventually, once it is a positive, will deliver positive results. Now, there are negative perseverance as well. So if your perseverance is one of a negative nature, well, it's going to produce negative results. So you ought not to believe that because you were born into East Port of Spain, Laventille, Beetham, etc., that your life has been circumscribed, has been limited to that, and therefore fatalistic. You could never get rich, or you could never have a family that will have enough. Because a young man right outside this premises asked me one time, he said, "Mr. Smith, a senior with us all the time, up to last night. He has I'm adopted. I'm godfather for all the children and them. So they make me a godfather without I being present, but that's all right." So he said, "Mr. Smith, but you with us, you're dancing with us, etc., etc. What making you do this?" And then I told him that, of course, it is not that I am rich, but it is about contentment. You work with what you have, but with a plan to get out of it, because you know that the environment in which you were born into and you exist is not good. You see police raiding every day, etc., etc., and you have to cuss the police and so on, and the antagonism continues and so on. And today you could eat, tomorrow you can't eat, and just now you have to get, of course, Pampers, etc. Yeah, last night I gave him $200. Yes, so he told me that my goddaughter wanted Pampers. I had no choice. I gave him $200. He wanted something to eat, so he said $150, and I say, "Well, you go take the $50 to get something to eat." That happened last night, people. So I want to thank Andy. I think I'm hearing Andy in the background. So he will come to the forefront, Andy, because I could stop here if you are now available. But of course, I think it was important to share these experiences with the national and the regional and international community, because these are true human situations, and that the existentialist philosophy, if adopted, will certainly be beneficial to every single human being, regardless of the circumstance that you are in, particularly if you are talking about progress and, of course, emerging out of the quagmire or the morass that you may have found yourself, whether advertently or inadvertently, whether you decided to do it or not, or whether you were born into it, as the case may be. Once you hold on to that idea that I'm a human being and I could get out of this manifestation thereof, will, of course, be inevitable. And of course, there are other supporting philosophies, such as your religious concept, who you associate with, all of that. Because I remember struggling in Form 4, in Form 3. Struggling in Form 3. Don't know. Fellas come in and they know their work, and I don't know mines. And I said, what the hell is this? How come they know and I don't? And I didn't know it was so easy to know, because I had all the tools at my disposal. It's just that nobody told me what I'm saying here. And that is, 1, line with the brightest fellas. 2, do like them. Find out their secrets. So, thereafter, every holiday, like this one, I would ask my parents to purchase my textbooks early. And I will read every single one, whether I understand it or not, because when I get to school, it's only revision time. Because I completed the entire thing from front page to cover. That is the way that I see it for young people in particular, who are struggling and who, of course, believe that somehow they will not be able to make it, but they're talking like everybody else. They have to eat like everybody else. They have to wear the clothes like everybody else, And they have to interact with their peers and others beyond them. So what you do? One of the things I would have done when I get fed up, going to school, but I find school too slow. I go into the library, and when they think I'm in school, I'm in the library. And there I will meet people who are brighter than me. And I will ask a question. Particularly subjects where you need to ask, the science subjects in particular, and language, you have to ask somebody who can speak Spanish to teach you Spanish. You just can't pick it up just unless, of course, you go in what is called immerse learning, where you go to Venezuela and you, of course, or some Spanish-speaking country, and then, of course, you engage. But otherwise, on your own, you won't be able to do it, but certainly you will be able to, of course. And people are kind when they see that you're yearning for knowledge and you want to really make something of yourself. And when you tell them you come from Laventille, and when you tell them you come from East Wall Spain, when you tell them you come from Nelson Street, etc., you making joke. People gravitate because they've seen an exceptional jewel in that young man or young woman, as the case may be, and they're prepared to help. Under normal circumstances, they're prepared to help, but they will do so with a long spoon from a distance, because they don't know if they'll get bite, or if their magnanimity, their generosity is one which, of course, may turn out to be their detriment. And so they will treat you at a distance. But if you are forthright and if you are aggressive in terms of aggression, here doesn't mean physical, it doesn't mean fight and so on. It means that you're yearning to learn and you're asking questions. People who know and you know they know and you want what them have in terms of the knowledge, not their physical, not their money, not their television and breaking open. No, not that. I'm talking about what's in their heads, so that you in turn could get it, you could absorb it, could inculcate, and then, of course, for your own benefits and maybe for others that may be so deficient. So you get an insight as to why I am here. Why I'm here. Because I passed through that. And I thought at a very early time, when I was teaching, I don't want another person in my community, I'm talking about not necessarily geographically, but certainly sociologically. I don't want to see another young man or woman pass through that. And I would say here every day, those who are close to me, I would say I want to see every young man, every young girl employed, for example. So when I go to Spargos on a Friday like today, Andy, I know you're going to mama guy me on that. When I go to Spargos today, I don't want to have to push my hand in my pocket. I know that at the appropriate time, they will come and say, Mr. Smith, hold this, hold that, and so on. And I, of course, will be the most happiest individual on this earth. Happiest when that time reaches. But of course, we have work to do in the meantime. We have work to do. So, yeah. Take a minute? No, I can't take a minute because I have a gentleman in studio here with me, asked me to take a minute, but he doesn't know that Andy is not here, so I don't have control. He was assuming, he was living under the fact that I have some kind of control. No, I don't have any control on where the ground report is concerned, the morning program. So, people, of course, you may be seeing tears running down my eyes, but it's so emotional. I am that at times that happens. It doesn't mean it doesn't suggest weakness at all. What it suggests is that I'm very emotional about these things and have been so from time immemorial. In fact, I want to tell you a story as well. That when I went to, of course, respond to the offer of the UNC and the political leader, Mrs. Kamala Prasad Bisasa, now Prime Minister, Honorable, I did, in fact, mention episodes like this. And I, in fact, broke down in tears. And yeah, boy, I felt humiliated. I felt to myself that shouldn't happen, but that's how it is. That's how passionate I am. Of course, I remember Muilal saying, nah, don't cry, you know, cry. When we had the Corley press conference of a private entity, and of course we went at length in terms of how practical it is, and it's obvious that the government will do things more expensive generally than that of the experts who may be accurate, who have the prowess and the capacity, having, of course, been around for a very long time in that particular area of social possible intervention. There's another, of course, article that I'm seeing here. TT Post suspense. I'm waiting on Andy, people, so you would forgive what is happening now, because simply Andy is not at our disposal at this point in time, and therefore he asked me to hold on as a typical Boy Scouts, because we have a program to run, and of course I am not the one to, of course, give individual mornings. I would say good morning to everybody, East, West, North, South, Central, or Friends of Tobago, and wherever you are. 3 million worldwide. Andy, of course, will take the time to do that. That's his forte. That's his responsibility. All right, but of course, mine. I believe that I would have gone beyond him when I say good morning to everybody, because everybody is everybody. But of course, he could never call the names of everybody, the thousands of persons that would be, of course, watching the program or viewing the program at this point in time. Let me just take this call just in case it's not him, but let me just make. Hello. All right. Okay. All right. Yes, people. So, TT Post suspends delivery of parcels with goods to US. Well, of course, that is one of the repercussions of the tariff agenda of the present United States government, and as a result, parcels that have goods. I assume that they are distinguishing that kind of parcel from another kind of parcel that will be, of course, delivered. But those with items that may be subjected to the tariff in the United States, because, of course, the United States citizens will have to treat with that in a particular way, because if there is a particular price that they have to pay there, it means therefore there are goods that coming from Trinidad that people may no longer want to buy because it becomes more expensive because of the tariff that has to be paid when it lands in the United States. So I suspect yes, Andy, are you there? I hear you. I hear you not clearly. Andy? Andy? All right, I'm sure that you might have heard somebody, because he has a very distinct voice. They doesn't call him the Pitbull for nothing. So, TT Post suspends delivery of certain parcels to the United States as a consequence of the Trump tariff that was instituted. I see, incidentally, that India is fighting back, boy. Of course, they are saying that if it is that you succumb, if it is that you cow to China, why must we? And therefore, of course, you have a battle on your hand. Of course, that's the message out of India that was sent to Donald Trump. So they are talking south. They are talking about non-aligned movement. They are talking about, of course, a multipolar world order. Big term. But of course, it simply means that, listen, the United States cannot be the centerpiece, cannot be the centripetal force that determines world trade and world affairs. And therefore, if you impose that unilaterally on me, I will look for other places to do my business, and the other places that are willing. And we have seen, of course, the fallout of that, I want to say, but maybe partially, but it's about time in Africa. Tory and others are coming together. We have, of course, the BRICS countries as well. It started with BRICS, so you have to say the BRICS. It's called now the BRICS Plus, because there are other countries that have joined the original BRICS. You remember, BRICS mean Brazil, B for BRICS, B, Russia, BRI, India, RIC, yes, China, S, of course, for South Africa. So other countries are now joining. They're talking about, of course, having their own currency. They're having to talk about a currency that would be an alternative to the greenback that has dominated, of course, trade across the globe, especially after the Second World War. And so things are shaping up to delink themselves from the dominance of the United States. How successful they will be, whether the United States will have to accept that inevitable faith, or would they, of course, renege? Would they rescind? That's another story. Of course, right on their northern border is Canada. And of course, Canada too is resisting. And I was surprised that parts of Canada provides electricity to parts of the United States, particularly, of course, those northeastern states that, if my geography serves me well now, where of course they purchase electricity from Canada, and they are threatening, of course, to throw them into darkness if they continue with, of course, these attacks on the business people coming out of Canada. But of course, Trump and they are saying that fentanyl, psychotropic drug, they are saying that Canada is encouraging that, and when people cross the border, that is happening, and therefore, because, and then Trump, of course, also said that I think he wants to annex Canada to the United States, and of course, that is another issue by itself, I suppose, and he wants to buy Iceland as well. So, and of course, well, I think he has gotten his way with respect, of course, to the Panama Canal. Because, of course, he says that the Chinese cannot be dictating the pace in terms of who, especially the United States, because their access and their connection from one ocean to the next, because remember, the eastern side of the United States is washed by the Atlantic Ocean, and the east-west and the western, east-west, yes, and the western side of the United States, California, etc., is washed by the Pacific Ocean. But in order for them to get from one side to the next, they have to pass through the Panama Canal, which of course is the shortest route, rather than having to go all down to the southern part of the Atlantic Ocean and then go around Argentina, and then of course past Chile and come back up before you could reach the western side of the United States by boat, at least, right? So by ship, and of course a lot of their naval assets, their war machinery, is of course exactly that, and therefore, of course, the most powerful navy in the world, and arguably the most powerful army in the world, and of course, and that country has bases in almost every major country that has a potential to affect negatively the interests of the United States. So whether it be in the Middle East, whether it be in the Indian Ocean, whether it be in the Pacific, yes, in the Pacific as well, because we're talking about China, we're talking about, of course, and the situation with North Korea, as well as, of course, the bellicose language that is being projected by China as far as its very small but very close neighbor. We're talking about, of course, that island nation is slipping now, but the fact of the matter is that the United States is all over the place. It is ubiquitous. Like its presence is like salt. It's in everything. So that is where we are with respect, of course, to that situation as far as that is concerned. Again, I'm waiting on Andy to tell me whether or not he is available. I'm hearing something that, let me just make sure that I have my monitoring here. So let me just monitor and see if there's anything other than me talking. All right, good. So I allow them talking. You have someone there? All right, so let's go to the next article. Of course, government wants year-round Carnival City to boost tourism. And yesterday that was one of the issues that we raised yesterday in terms of diversification of the economy. And here it is, of course, today. We have an article that said government wants a year-round carnival city to boost the tourism. And very instructively, and maybe coming out from the experience yesterday, was the fact that for the first time I took note of Tourism Trinidad. Tourism Trinidad is an entity created by the government to focus on Trinidad's tourism product and to develop the product and to promote Trinidad and Tobago as a tourism destination. I suspect if there is a tourism Trinidad, there is a tourism Tobago. And from the article that I read and from what I knew before, it is clear that there was and is an attempt to separate tourism in Tobago as distinct from that of Trinidad, and for obvious reasons. And that is what the minister was referring to, and therefore Carnival being part of that product. But I think what attracted my attention in relation to what we discussed yesterday is the fact that the government had to take the initiative, even though there are persons who may be experts and who have businesses for one reason or another, whether it be in the hospitality industry, whether it be in the medical, because they're talking about medical tourism, whether in the ecosystem as well, the eco-tourism they're talking about, people who have a love for flora and fauna and nature in general. And what the government has done is clearly attempt to galvanize under a single entity, if you want to call it that, for the promotion or the advancement of tourism Trinidad. So the point I am making here in relation to yesterday's discussion is that the government has to be the facilitator, because it has the overall responsibility of not finding foreign exchange, of not delivering to the people, of not ensuring the security and well-being of the people, and not only, of course, in the area of job creation, and of course improving or increasing or expanding our GDP, and therefore our intake in terms of foreign exchange, but has that mammoth task, because it was that they signed up for when they contested any elections, and therefore any government, to manage the affairs of Trinidad and Tobago in the interest of the people and in their welfare, for a higher standard of living, quality of life. That is what this is all about. And therefore, where they find it necessary to augment, to provide the resources, they will. And if it is a major plank of their diversification agenda or program away from fossil fuel and all the products that we have shared for several generations, over 100 years in the case of Trinidad and Tobago, in terms of dependent on that particular commodity, those kinds of hydrocarbon, then it means that is what they have to do. And if they have to support elements of that in order to achieve that objective, that is what they have to do. And so, of course, that is why I introduced the question of the evolution of education and how we have come to be where we are today with respect to that. I suppose tourism will be the beneficiary of a similar arrangement, because there are private people, there are entertainers, etc., who one can say should be able to earn their own dollar and contribute, of course, to the tourism product. But in the wisdom of the government, it may not be sufficient to generate the kind of and the speed with which they would like it to generate, so as to benefit as far as the government is concerned, and contribute to the overall basket of contributions that will redound to our benefit, development, progress as an independent sovereign state. So that is, I think that example became very clear to me, which is a new area clearly that the government is pursuing. Of course, I want to say that was created, I think, under the last administration. That's the vision. But of course, I know that this government is far better at implementation, and therefore one expects that will, in due course, be a major player in earning foreign exchange in Trinidad and Tobago. Quite apart, of course, from focusing on the manufacturing sector and the provision of financial facilities, such as through the Exim Bank. Incidentally, there are other facilities in other countries of a similar nature. So I don't think we are unique there, and I think we might have copied from other countries, whether it be Australia, whether it be India, whether it be African countries, etc. So, but the whole idea is, of course, to expand the economy and to benefit ultimately the population of Trinidad and Tobago. All the other nuances, like, of course, dishonesty, corruption, nepotism, and so on, all of that will be part and parcel, one expects, because it's a human situation. But at the end of the day, let me take this call. Hello? Hey, tell me. Yes, Mr. San Fernando, tell me. Yeah, we supposed to be. I'm hearing myself on the monitoring system. Yeah. So check it out on YouTube. It's just me alone. Andy is not available, but he tell me he should be around momentarily. Go ahead. Oh, you couldn't get on yesterday. Yes. Very interesting. Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you. Yeah. Let me put you on speaker. Because it's not a private call. Because that's something you would have said in your if you had the opportunity to call today. So go ahead.
Okay. Well, I tried to get on yesterday and I couldn't get on because the topic was very interesting yesterday. But I want to agree with what you were saying. Right now, Andy taking the position that
Andy, you're there? Andy, like he has a technical problem, boy. I go ahead. You finish? Because I just have you on my speaker. Oh, great.
What I want to say is that Andy is taking a position whereby he's saying that take away the money that the Emancipation Support Committee is getting.
Yeah, and others, yeah. Mm-hmm.
But I have a number of questions for Andy.
All right.
Why would you want to take away the money that is given to the emancipation, all of it just like that, and let's say okay, go private.
I'll tell you what, I have to disengage, right? Because you leave it for when Andy is there, so we have a full discussion, because that's the man who raised the issue, and I want to commend him for that. All right? Yeah, but thanks for calling in. All right. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yes, indeed. I get an impression that Andy might have had more than what he bargained for. The technical problem as well, it appears. But that being as it may, as I said, government, Missy? Yes. What's the other one? What's the other issue? Yes. Right. I see something where government is just a minute. Yes. Right. So they are looking to boost tourism, and I think I have ventilated it in the context partially of what we discussed yesterday. So let's go again. Keep you post PM falls. Right. That's not what I want. Let me see. Bandits steal. Right. We covered that already. Government cut. Right. There's another article that may interest us. Of course, PM government to cut contract jobs from public service. I think that is a matter that the opposition seem to be confused about. Their discombobulations seem to have no limit. Their confusion, in other words, discombobulate, to be confused. Because I see nothing wrong with it. It's straightforward. They are prepared to those persons who are contracted, and I think, of course, Miss Felicia, the head of the PSA, add some what I consider to be clarity to how she expects that to be ruled out. If they are contracted workers, it means therefore that these people would have met the qualification criteria for being contracted workers. So one expects that a process will take place, a mechanism will be worked out, just as the case of those 200 SRPs. They were in the system already. They had some element of training and experience. And what you do, you absorb them under certain conditions. So I suspect that what Felicia is saying and what I expect that the government will do is exactly that. But in this case, of course, is for the public servants, where those who are contracted will now be absorbed into the regular public service, and therefore are subjected to all of the benefits, because the bugbearer, the difficulty for these trade unionists and those persons who are really concerned about these workers is the security of tenure. They can't, with a contract, some people, they say, are being contracted workers for over 5 years and 6 years and so on. That was a bit surprising to me, because I would have expected that a contract would have been, of course, a particular time, and that's it. Shorter than 5 years at least. But of course, so the argument is that these contracted workers, having been qualified, obviously, will now be, of course, take jobs that are now not occupied. And the argument that the Prime Minister has advanced is that in customs, for example, and in the Inland Revenue departments, the reason why Imbert and they could have said that there was inefficiencies of a troubling nature, and we'll get into that, because with these fellas there's always something sinister, always something evil, always something unnecessary. If something is not broken, why are you looking to fix it? So we do that, of course, in the context of what? Of the Trinidad and Tobago Revenue Authority that they wanted to implement. Thank God for the Kamala Prasad administration. But the present Prime Minister has said that it's similar to the customs, it's similar to that of the SRP. There are vacant positions in the government service that these people can absorb and therefore get security of tenure. And it includes or is extended to the nursing community as well. And I believe the doctors as well, who are put on these tender keg, if you want to call it that, or hang on a string contracts. And I say hang on a string and tender keg because it is right, it is on the button, because the purpose of that, as advanced by the last administration and exercised by them, is to keep people in back, keep them under control, because you will do what I say because your job is not secured. That is what that was all about. And I agree. We have seen too many of that, not to be convinced that that has been the motive. That has been the motive for, of course, accepting contract work as opposed to, and I agree as well with the current Prime Minister that is more expensive than if you would have filled those vacancies that exist that would, in the first place, have attracted the need for contract workers or contracted workers. Yeah, I agree. So there you have it. The policy position is the government to cut contract jobs from public service, but wishful thinking, the PNM, would equate that to, of course, the situation with the CPEP workers that really and truly have not been contracted by the government. These workers have been contracted by the contractors that whose services would have been under agreement, contractual agreement, been utilized or deployed by CPEP, the agency responsible for environmental matters across the country of the nature that we all know and have seen and witnessed. Understand that. Different ball game. But they love, talking about the opposition here, they love to make square peg and round hole argument, totally incongruent, nonsensical, asinine, lack common sense, lack any kind of rationality. And it is on us to, of course, disabuse and set the record straight. They never catered for a ground report, a corridor transformation, or Mickie's program. They never catered for that. Who are going to tell them as it is, educate, edify, and let them make the decision at the end of the day. And they did on the 28th of April. Having been abreast at the PNM government was unable to dominate the information as they would have done prior to the advent, particularly of social media, and the fact that there are viable alternatives to news and issues relating to government, and the extrapolation, dissecting, and analysis of those policies, programs that the PNM would, of course, invent, mainly concocted for their political survivability and sustainability at the expense of the rest of us. Imagine they have the audacity and the temerity to tell us that the closing down of Petrotrin, for example, is the best thing for Trinidad and Tobago. Just imagine that. They are telling us that when they sent home workers at Caroni 1925 or 19, wherever it is, and of course those at Chagaramas, it was the best thing for Trinidad and Tobago. Yeah. And when they by practice, it tells us that contract workers are the best thing, and they argue to save money, it turns out that the opposite, the antithesis, is the case. The opposite is the case. These people are vipers by no small measure. No small measure. They are evil in being and in their wholesomeness, are deceptive as part of their idiosyncratic propensity, nestled, of course, in a kind of bipolar scenario. They will tell you one thing today and tell you something different once tomorrow. Once it satisfies their evil, diabolical And don't tell me you can't get examples. I'm sorry that you participated this morning. So I know that you are going to assist me with many of the things that I may have fallen short on because I never catered as you have. But of course, as I said, Boy Scouts, that's the team we have. And whether it's Andy, whether it's Mikey, whether it's myself, the fact of the matter is that we are prepared to deliver. And nothing but the truth and practicality. So, here it is. The government has decided to do away with contract work, and the Prime Minister, Honorable Kamala Prasad Bissesa, has given the rationale for it. It's more expensive, and of course, it will fill vacancies, and they therefore generate greater efficiencies. And I want to show you, in the context of this very matter, how deceptive, how dangerous, how abusive, how self-serving the last government, PNM and Imbert, and of course it has to do with Imbert. When the situation of the amnesty was delivered or was communicated to the population about tax amnesty, people ran. Say, all right, you wouldn't have to pay the penalty and so on. So they ran. There was a projected amount of money that the Imbert expected, I think was about just over $1 billion. Oh, put another way, no, I think it was a couple $100 million, but I don't think it was quite $1 billion. But don't hold me for my inaccuracy with respect to that. But the principle is what you should follow. And at the end of the exercise, he told us he got more money than expected. And he thanked the employees of the Inland Revenue Department for their efficiency and for their efficacy. Yet still, people, at the end of that exercise or exercises, because there were several, I think about 2 or 3 under that government, they pursued to the detriment of those very workers that he just said worked so hard, worked so efficiently to get more money than they anticipated from those tax amnesties. He tell them eventually, in pursuance of the Trinidad and Tobago Tax Revenue Authority that they wanted to implement, choose whether you want to leave, whether you want to stay, or you want to be transferred to another department. Those very workers who he said was so, of course, efficient in the collection of the revenue, in the collection of the amnesty that was offered to the population as far as tax delinquency is concerned. Yeah. So we know, it's clear. This government, however, led by Kamala Prasad Bissesa, is saying categorically, we trust you. And we are going to demonstrate that. Not only have they done away with the Trinidad and Tobago proposed authority, revenue authority, because it was, in fact, eventually, under the last administration, a reality. And they had to go to Parliament and, of course, revoke, rescind, render null and void and of no effect. Present government is saying that I trust you to do what is required as far as the collection of taxes in Trinidad and Tobago is concerned. And therefore, in order for you to be optimally effective and efficient, we will do what? We will, of course, fill the vacancies, the many vacancies that are there. And at the same time, providing, of course, security of tenure for the employees that would be the beneficiary of this decision. Marvelous. Marvelous. As opposed to the last administration and their insistence. And of course, as I said, I cannot, of course, not identify the cynicism and the ulterior motive that has been the hallmark of the PNM. Whether they are or they were in government, out of government, as is the case today. Some bleeding heart. They love the poor. They love them workers, them CPEP workers, etc. They love them now. Yes. Yeah. Yes, indeed. I am being reminded, people, of an issue that I should mention before, of course, before we close today. Very, very, very important. All right. Yeah. Yes, indeed. And I have the gentleman in studio, so he will give his version as well. But it's very, very unfortunate. Yes, of course. There's one of our ardent followers and members of Laventille Outreach for Vertical Enrichment, our party that was created only to treat and address the issue, political and otherwise, of the Laventilles and, of course, Port of Spain South. But the point I am making is that here it is, the policy has been enunciated by the Honorable Prasad Bisesa that public servants will have the augmenting, the support, the necessary man or human power that is required for them to do the job for which they have been employed by the government. And that those contracted workers could feel optimistic that they will be the first to benefit, because they may well be, of course, work beyond that of the contracted workers, or should I say, opportunities because of vacancies beyond the cadre of contracted workers, so that added people can get into the system. And I take note of the nurses who have welcomed that particular policy announcement. And I'm sure the doctors, as is the case with the doctors, and indeed, in the case of every single government or quasi-government institution, because the general policy is contract work is ineffective. Contract work does not provide come For a better day, for a better life. Yes, indeed. For a better day, for a better life. Yes. That is what we are talking about, people. And so it is important that we understand all of the above. All of the above. All of them.
The Ground Report with Mikey K, Andy Williams, and Lennox Smith.
Bang, 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 bang.
Randy? Good. I'm satisfied people there.
Oh boy.
Just bear with us.
Lennox, you did a very good job, man.
Andy should have joined us. Hello?
You did a very good job. Very, very good.
Thank you.
Yes. You're well, watchman.
What's your status?
Yeah. I get to organize all I needed to organize. At the end of the day, as we all always tell people, we are people too. We have to organize ourselves too. And to be doing a job like this and we not getting paid, oh my God. But we do it for God, we do it for the people because we do it because we love to do it, most importantly. We love to.
The Ground Report with Mikey K, Andy Williams, and Lennox Smith.
Bang, 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 bang.
Nice! Lennox, thank you so much, partner. Watch me. I say nice. But tomorrow he had to go live Pagos while on the move and listening. He say, I know Andy go mama guy me. What happened? Yes. We're going to say the man today is the man last day, the man had a bubble. He had to go and do he matrix, so you know. Well, man, watch me, they like to see me dance. Well, only see Lennox, only don't see me again, you know. Jack Warner, wife. Just be like, what the hell is this? She just sit down, guess she drink. She and the next woman, our next nice lady, just be sit down. And they go jot back the seat. And they watching Lennox do a matrix there. I say, Lord. And them entertain. Imagine pan beating. People singing. People dancing. People doing all kind of things. And them instead watching nobody, them just only I say, but where die Hollywood, Tara Perry.
And then put herself closest in front of everybody, and the chair facing me, and they're facing me, and that's it. I say, oh my goodness. And every year they're looking out for that.
Them ladies are easy.
They will be vexed. They will be vexed. One, not in the politics again, so they can see that.
Anyhow, Trinidad and Tobago, you all have your opportunity now. What's your front burner? What's supposed to make news that just not making news? What says thou? Today's Friday. You all have a long weekend. Besides that, remember Monday's a holiday, eh? Because the holiday fall on a Sunday. So So public servants always get nice, boy. Wait. When would I be a public servant to get nice, so boy? We jump low, we are to work Monday to Friday.
Imagine those who are to come in now.
Yeah.
And those who are to come in now, you know, who were formerly contract workers, yeah. I'm glad for them, man. I'm glad for them because I mean it is really uncertain and too mentally draining to be thinking, well, would I be employed? Would my contract be renewed? Of course, I have my mortgage to pay. I had the car to pay for. I have children to send to school.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, constantly. I mean, that is not good for you, for your emotions, for your mental health, and so on. So I'm very glad that the Prime Minister, the Honorable Prime Minister, has made it very clear that's the policy of the government at this stage. Of course, Penny want to find out. She want to question PM statement on public service jobs.
You know what is bottom about that? You know what is bottom?
I don't know what is to be questioned. What is to be questioned?
No, but you know what
It's
is,
clear. I mean, what, she lacks common sense?
but you know what is bottom about that, Lennox Smith? But how
Yeah.
Penny, who and what has sent, asking all these important, very important questions. Excuse me, under Kamala Prasad Bisesa. But Camille never asked not one question for the people of Trinidad and Tobago within roughly 10 years, and she was there. Wow. And yet still, she's there now, but she's still not in charge. Imagine that. Dr. Keith Christopher Rowley.
She can't tell Rory to shut up.
You're mad, yo. Remember, he have files on she, you know. She's stupid up.
Shut up. Shut up your mouth. Shut up. You're not contributing to the advancement of PNM. Shut up. You continue to have them in the doldrums. Just shut up. You're talking nonsense, but she wouldn't do that.
Boy, remember, you know Lennox, and we know how the politics is go. That's why people is looking to us in their thousands to learn how the politics is go. Remember Dr. Rowley? She can't tell Rowley nothing. She can't tell Stuart Little nothing. She can't tell Awari nothing. She can't tell Cummins nothing. She can't tell the 13 MPs, Camille and them nothing. All of them have files on her. You want them to say, hey, don't get up. And remember, Rowley quick on the jaw. From the time you remember, Amory just said boom, and Rowley just rah. Hey, you know Rowley say?
Yeah, well,
you telling me shut up?
Rowley really is a gangster.
Yeah.
To want to, and I'm being kind. I'm being kind to him. He's really a gangster. He's very toxic. He's very reckless. He's very brutal, and he doesn't care. His inability to be empathetic and sympathetic, and therefore he don't mind mashing up the entire thing to get his way. So I think that is what they are more afraid of. That if they tell him to shut up, which they ought to, that it is better to stay silent than to tell him shut up, because she may not be an opposition leader. Or he may not be a PNM at all.
So truth. He will now mash up the whole thing more, and then he go say, you telling me shut up? Why didn't tell your father shut up with all the contracts you get? Why didn't tell your brother?
What are you say?
What's where they're going and let out everything on she, and she know that. So she have to hold, because Stuart Little, Colin and Bert, all of them will just rattle out everything on her. Remember, she was a hungry Creole in the bunch, you know. She wasn't part of the game, you know. She only come part of the game now. She wasn't the important government, and it's not the important few.
Because even though what she was getting by way of her father and so on and so forth, and she herself, the fact is that was minuscule compared to the monolithic raid that these fellas would have, of course, perpetrated on the treasury of the country. So she was getting, but very little compared to the rest of them. Alrari, Imbert, Rowley, and we could name a good few of them.
Including Ruan Senanan. Oh my God. Including Foster Cummins. Later people will just... And that the problem. When you're a leader, you cannot afford for nobody to have nothing on you. Because then you're not a leader.
Yeah.
You're just a leader by name. But the people who are acting on you, them is a leader by game. They know how to play a good game. But Trinidad and Tobago, the lines are open to you. You all heard about all the updates, current affairs when they come into the news. You all heard the big word, and not wood, as in mahogany, but the big word.
Make it clear, man. Make it clear.
Yes.
Make it clear.
Especially
because some people that's called me big wood. I don't know why.
Right, but what? I had to make it clear today. Because remember today is Friday and you're going Pagos and you're going and make sure to you go early so nobody can go bouncing in your way. You have to buy beers for a whole plannings of people. So you change your time. I only hope they ain't listening, you know. That when they ain't seen you by Pagos because you change your time.
I hope they do. Otherwise you're gonna be setting me up by trying not to set me up, man.
Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy.
I would leave at 9, so I have about 4 more minutes.
All right, no problem, my co-host. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy.
The Ground Report with Mikey K, Andy Williams, and Lennox Smith.
We must make government work for the people rather than have the people work to keep a government in place. We must make government work for the people rather than have the people work to keep a government in place.
Bang, 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 bang.
Nice! Remember, it's all about vibes with the Pitbull, eh? Every day, you just have to catch our vibes to come on this program, especially the last 10 years. Man, Lennox tell me he used to walk around the building 10 times. He said, boy, sometimes I go walk up Charlotte Street. I go across by the Queen's Park just to catch the vibes to start this program. You know? Especially when Rowdy them was ruling the country. Boy, that is like you is a cocaine addict. That like you is a alcoholic. Rowdy them, I ain't gonna lie, boy. What? They make talk show hosts and all. Had to catch a vibe, they can run a program too, boy. Lord. Because remember they done shut up the Calypsonians and them, eh? That's why I tell earlier we before opening line, because me and one Lennox done at 3 minutes, or 1 more minute you have. Right. That's why I tell earlier yesterday that them Calypsonians and them and all that kind of cult here and religious organizations are getting money. That the government had to cut out that don't give no religious organization no money, no Baptist, no Hindu, no Muslim, don't get them none. Let them pundit, priests, imams, let them organize with the congregation if it is they're doing well, if it is that they are really spiritual inclined. Allah, God will bless their temple or church or mosque. God will bless it. People will fill the place. Poor people, middle class people, and rich people too. And for the Muslims, zakat. What Muslim people is the givers of Trinidad and Tobago? Jump high, jump low. What's good? And Muslim people, this help the Muslim people. And in business too. Serious, you know. And God now, which all of our different religious organizations will understand, God is one God. He now will bless those places that the people offerings, because they are doing well, will come to that church or mosque or temple, it have people that don't have kids and they have money, land, business. They all and they're writing now because they want for whatever sins they commit in their past life. They want forgiveness because they realize now that in life they have to go there now and answer to God. No, let me say it like my Yankee friend. To God. They know they had to answer to God. And then they go organize and sign over deeds, properties, wealth to the churches, the mosque, the temples, to all the God-fearing people and flocks that continue to preach the good word. I ain't going to say to Mother Lakshmi or to Holy Mary or to the good word to God. Yeah. And they will the goodness. Yeah, but before you go, you have to listen. So the goodness will flow on these churches, these mosques, these temples. They will have plenty money without government supporting them. Don't lay your chin. Don't put your chin when I'm talking, Lennox Smith. Underneath you don't put your hand underneath your chin when I'm getting to the end of my contribution this morning on the gimme, the government interference.
How my posture should be. Go ahead, my friend.
Tell me you're going just now. All I ask you, partner, is just listen to what I say before you go. You don't have a contribution after because you don't close off. You don't tell the country. You are going in 3 minutes. It's going into over 3 minutes because 3 minutes past 9 you are still there. But I ask you just to hold on for you to at least hear my editorial in my presence.
I am. I just hope that you could be as compendious as possible.
Right, all right. Well, faster than Kingsley. Yes, I'd have been like God.
Okay. Now, well, I'm gonna leave. No matter what you say.
Oh boy.
Yeah. I'll leave. No matter what you say.
Well, let me make it.
Me? I go wait. I go wait here until 9:30.
Hey, so let me don't wait too long because I got like that. Me, I don't organize and go through a whole book just to get the first paragraph of a book. To make a long story short, the government of Trinidad and Tobago now, because we see that politics is destroying two major things. We love our culture, we love our religion, and the PNM destroy it and put it to the extent, and all of them still there. All of them heads and them is still the heads. They destroy to the extent that I and all used to say that the PNM by God. The reason why I used to tell you all that the PNM by God is because the religious organizations within the 10 years of the bullying, of the killing of us, of the wickedness of us, of the madness of us, of the piping out of our country, of the spranging out of our country. Within that time, those bodies ain't saying nothing. They ain't saying nothing. Those quiet. Including Baba Broke. She used to only come when it's close emancipation to the spiritual back. She go come. Again, because it's gimme. I don't care who vex. I want the right thing. I want the right thing. And the government should only get involved in things that is major and let them put it on themselves. Yes, you shine. Where we will have that accountability and transparency and where we will get rebucked for the money. So we don't want the major things that is needed to be put together. Like for instance, The government now have to organize their own emancipation, their own independent, well, they don't have that, their own Indian arrival, their own Diwali Naga, their own every either for two, they have to organize everything, whereby the government will organize it, where we know we ain't getting thief, and that man ain't getting big budget, getting million and only spending 200,000 and going with 800,000 of we money. Right? We put on the own, and then putting on our own, we will organize and hire the little masses and them that may not be working, because remember we had to get everybody back to work. We go hire the little masses and them to organize and function with a proper structure. That's how we go do it. And we're going to bypass those organizations, and those organizations have to organize through their congregation, and through they're doing good work, and through they getting blessings from Almighty God. Allah, Mother Lakshmi, everybody, they're getting that blessings, and they will have their own functions, and they will real prosper. So they won't have to be begging nobody, because they're doing the right thing, and their congregation spending the money, their offerings will be big, and everybody go be happy. So the government go put on their own thing privately, the private organizations and NGOs go put on their own thing privately, and watch, it will be done properly, because now we will really see we buck for we money, and now we don't have the infiltration of politics in none of them organizations. Then you will hear the Calypsonians and them come back and singing, the road bad, rowdy mash up the country, steer young fool we, penny and worth a cent. And you're going to hear all those things when we do it the right way. Right, Lennox, you can take your leave now. Let me open the lines. No more, nothing.
Yeah,
nothing.
I almost say Kingsley, that is enough. But is you talking? So sorry. Listen, I have a gentleman in studio with me, but he wouldn't be coming from the camera. But he has his brother died, and of course there was this this request. He was a warrant officer in the army, so they made a request for get him some kind of state support, the army detail, as the case may be. But he was told that the request was granted by the minister of defense. And on the day they waited, the day of the funeral, they waited, and no vehicle arrived. That request did not materialize. And of course, the people who he has been communicating with in the army, I would assume he will say it briefly just now. They simply apologized and said that everything was in place and they don't know how that happened. Imagine for a funeral. But go ahead, Mr. You could introduce your name if you want to know.
A pleasant good morning, Trinidad and Tobago.
Yeah.
I have a very disturbing issue with the Defense Force. I must say, first time on the program.
Yeah, go ahead. Mm-hmm. You go ahead.
I had a death in the family where my younger brother, who served in the military from a period of 1989 to...
Come closer to the mic. You're a bit emotional people. Some tears coming out of the eyes, but that's how it is.
He served in the military. And
I think before you continue, my brother, because I start to feel you, but I feel you'll get justice, but it's up to you. If you show yourself, you're in that pain, partner. But if it is that showing, if it is showing may cause problems based on your home or your family or comfortableness, we all understand. But you go ahead, my brother.
Yes.
Let Trinidad and Tobago here. Let us hear. Let me say pleasant good morning to all of you that look on to us and Gael, Trinidad and Tobago, Gael, the Caribbean. So all of you within the Caribbean too. Let's hear. Go ahead. You go ahead.
Right. So On his passing, we had made a request because my father would have joined the military in the days of the West Indian Regiment when Jamaica broke away from the Federation. He was a young man, 19 years, and he joined the army and he served with distinction. He left as a warrant officer one. He's no longer with us, God rest his soul. But all his children followed in his footsteps. And my brother recently passed away. He had a massive heart attack. The funeral was Wednesday at the Church of Assumption. And the family communicated with the higher authorities. And we just asked for one simple request, a request that was afforded to my father. And I received a phone call and I spoke to a major. I cannot remember his name. And he offered his condolences. He knew my brother and he said, on top, sit a lays with all you. We want to know the time and the address which was forwarded to them. Lo and behold, I told my family, well, look, we have the transport coming just to take us to and fro. We gave them the time because everything was a schedule we were working with. When I got to my parents' house, it was 9 o'clock. We were all waiting. 9:15, nothing. 9:30, I called back the major. I said, with all due respect, sir, what's really going on? He said, sir, nothing ain't come there yet? I said, no. He said, let me make a call and call you back. So I said, Lord Father, what it is going on here? What it is going on here? 9:45, I said, look, all your plan B. And we had to, well, you know what plan B is? To get to say goodbye to my brother. All you have a big woman, a mother sitting down, waiting to go and put down her son. And that is the kind of behavior from the military. It breaks my heart. It was so distasteful, you know? It's not the tail wagging the dog here. Not even an apology was offered, but I would read something here that the goodly major sent a text. Good morning, sir. Again, I'm not mentioning my name. The PS is engaged in the CDS on the issue because all arrangements were made since yesterday. And I am simply saying, shame on the Defense Force. Shame on the Defense Force. You don't do people that. When my brother joined the army in 1989, the next year he was defending this country. You know, all his colleagues, all his friends, everybody came out and supported us in grief, in disbelief. A brother, a son of the soil, a patriot. So, if all you know you couldn't facilitate the request, say so, because this family is not no hungry mouth. Yeah. It breaks my heart. Everybody know who my father was and who my brother was. And you don't do people that. People, family serving hard in these institutions, day and night, protecting the country. You don't treat people so. I want to thank, I'm a bit emotional, but I love my brother. And we gave him one of the best send-offs he could ever get. And I want to thank everybody who supported us in this time of bereavement. It's overwhelming love and support. All his batch, all his colleagues, everybody came out to pay farewell to a brother, a friend, a father. So, again, to the Defense Force, check all yourself, boy. All you reckon on yourself. Yeah.
And that's a very emotional, tears coming down his eyes and so on. It's a very, what I can say, painful moment, really. But of course, but isn't it reminiscent of another incident, Andy, that was recent, where of course a request was made for leave, and the same minister, rescinded it, said no, and the officer still proceeded to go on that mission. Of course, the minister said in his defense that the matter is being investigated, and to see whether or not the chronology of events was such that he probably got, because in other words, I got the impression that the officer might have as a defense that he got to the rescinding after he would have made all the preparation, and or maybe was out of the country. I could see him saying that, but they say it is under investigation, so we're watching that. But in this particular instance, of course, he is very, very, very disturbed and very, very disappointed with the Defense Force.
Right, but would he like to at least say what is his brother's name, right? Whether Trevor Dean saying, bro,
yeah, go ahead. He's prepared to do that.
Call the brother name, and what I want him to also do is, again, call his name, let us know how good he was, how much he served this country, Trinidad and Tobago, right? How good he was, how much he served the country, just where he did there, right? So we on the ground report, we on social media, we all who are listening, we will give that respect to your brother and your family for all your hard work and commitment and all your patriotism, patriots to our country, Trinidad and Tobago. We salute you, brother. If the Defense Force failed to do the duties for an honorable fellow like your brother, because I feeling your pain, and what I felt is that your brother is that honorable, and that pain of the Defense Force not honoring a commitment for a man that gave his all, for a family that gave their all.
And Andy, it was so traumatizing. I would say my brother was Warrant Officer 1, Alistair David Carrington, served the military, walked in following his father's footsteps, who joined the army when the West Indian Regiment was formed. May God bless their soul and may their soul rest in peace.
Repeat the name again.
Warrant Officer 1, Alistair David Carrington.
So that's the deceased parting individual who was so disrespected at this crucial moment.
I had my family, my mother, my sisters, all of us waiting to no show. You don't do people those things. So, plan B, as I say, and we take it as it is. Not even an apology. Not even an apology. I have the text message here. You don't do people those things. When my brother joined the army, 89, the next year he was defending this country, and all his former colleagues who retire and present came out and pay respects and tribute to that brother. Yes, I heard him. I miss him. He was well loved and respected. And it just hurts, boy. You know, you add insult to injury. That is what, I don't know what, you know. When my father served in the military, my goodness me, that man, God bless his soul, real respectable human being, loved by many. And the chief of defense staff came home and spoke to his wife and provided transport. Just transport. We never asked for no 21 gun salute or no gun carriage. But like it's some disrespect to the man on top. Little issues, I ain't getting involved in that. I just want to thank everybody again for coming out and supporting us. It was overwhelming. It was a tough day. A mother had to go and bury a child. And that is what all you do. Shame on all you. Yeah. Shame. So, again, I want everybody to enjoy the rest of the day. And I'm mourning and I'm grieved. So, it hurt. Andy. So,
and Andy, you have it. I myself is.
And I am the youth
influenced by
officer
that.
working with Mr. Lennox Smith. Sometimes I apologize for not showing my face. Mr. Smith is a respectable man in our community. He works very hard every day, talking with the youths, dealing with the youths, trying to reverse this scourge and this stigma that the communities have. And we engage the youth. I want to publicly, oh my goodness me, thank everybody again. All right? Enjoy the rest of the day. Andy, Mr. Smith,
yeah,
that we'll continue the fight. It's never over.
I will.
We will continue this fight.
With that courage that you have shown, I think in itself is motivation in spite of the circumstance. All right, Andy. So I am out of here. Can I leave now, my friend?
Yes, you can, my brother.
All right, my friend. You have a wonderful one, and of course we'll see next Tuesday, is it? And
Yep,
all
Tuesday.
of you who are on now and not on, but of course we'll get the information and we'll see this at your convenience later, sometime over the weekend or beyond. Bye-bye.
Amazing grace, how sweet the time that saved the wretch like me. I was the last, but now was blood, but now how sweet God's grace that taught my heart to feel.
The Ground Report with Mickie K, Andy Williams, and Lennox Smith.
Oh boy, condolences to that brother and his family. And we on the Ground Report, all of us, on Guile, we send our best wishes and condolences. And we salute your brother and your family for your patriotism, your hard work in Trinidad and Tobago, within the regiment. God bless you all, family, brother.
Bang, 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 bang.
Report with Mickie K, Andy Williams, and Lennox Smith.
Bang, 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 bang.
The Ground Report with Mickie K, Andy Williams, and Lennox Smith.
Nice. So lines are open, Trinidad and Tobago. What's on your front burner? What's supposed to make news and not making news? It's a long weekend, eh? We won't be with each other until Tuesday morning, please God. So happy Independence Day to each and every one of you. And we all must be proud of our country, Trinidad and Tobago. But this is our home. This is our birthright. This is our neighbor's string is buried here. This is our culture. This is our goddamn life. It is what it is, eh? That's why so much of foreigners is be looking onto the program. They're out there, they're in other people's culture, but they cannot refuse the culture of Trinidad and Tobago because it is in them. So long as you once a Trini, always a Trini.
Bang, 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 bang.
I'm up the right way. Once years a Trinbagonian, Tobago, a pleasant good morning to you, my brothers and sisters in Tobago. So long as you're a Trinbagonian, don't matter where we go, don't matter what citizenship we get from any other country, we will always continue to be a Trinbagonian, and we have to continue to be proud of where we born. This is our country, Trinidad and Tobago. Nice, let's go to the phone lines now. We tell me about Patricia Reid, the government don't care. Your PNM didn't care, partner. Ma'am, because Patricia is your name. Your PNM government didn't care. Look, the country had no money, the country broke. Come on now, man. Go ahead, caller.
Good morning, sir. Good morning. Andy, all you, Granny called to tell all you, good morning. And God bless all you for the good work all you're doing. And Granny bless all you for this good work all you're doing. Right? I have to say so. And Lennox Smith, I don't know how to call you again. You doing work more than a guru. You doing more work than a guru to try to see if you can change human being, boy. Real good all you're doing. Good work. What I can say about independence? Nobody's independent again. Nobody. The elderly cannot come out and go in the yard. They're going in the elderly house under the PNM government and doing all kind of things. You're going with your car, USA. You can't have no independence again. And I said one thing. When the white man was there, you could have come out. It was slavery. It's more than slavery right now. You could have come out. You could have walked. You could have eat. You could have drink. You could have walked in the night. And one thing this government have to change, the shift of the workers with police, prison officers, with doctors. The shift of the police was 6 to 2, 2 to 10, and 10 to 6. Eric Williams put police to work one day and one night. When you work a whole day, you have to come out in the night too to get mandate. Tell me how them police officer is. How they would be that to really change the police shift. Yeah. And they have to bring doctors according to Lennox Smith. Stop all contracts with doctors too. Doctors are suffering because when doctors' contracts finish, they have to wait long to get the contract back again. And within that time, they get no pay. So Mr. Lennox Smith, all you saying and doing there, God bless all you, and all you is right. All you didn't fight for all yourself. All you fight for all your country. And I have to thank God that UNC there today because of all you. And I have to thank God how we are there because of how we would have sided with Venezuela and what would have happened to we. God bless all you.
The Ground Report with Mickie K, Andy Williams, and Lennox Smith.
Oh boy. Patricia Reed, what I mean, that is a fake granny. That granny there talk for the people. That granny there feel it in her heart. And that granny that just talk is not a fake granny. That granny a long time. We want to say happy birthday to Smith. I think it's Smith. Smith. Tomorrow is her birthday, and we on the Ground Report understands we are a family, and it is our duty to make each other feel special, wanted, and to make each other feel that they are part of something, and they are part of something good. That's all people is really want in life, including myself. Acknowledgement when you are a patriot, when you have a part of something good. Like for instance, that brother there that cried for his brother, and the way that Trinidad and Tobago regiment, not army, but regiment, treat his brother when it have a family history and line of their given service. But it is what it is, and something had to start somewhere, and it had to start on the Ground Report, because as always, we lead, and then everybody else follow. Okay? So let's say tomorrow, Esther Smith. Nice, I find it, Esther Smith. A happy birthday to you. You will not be on tomorrow, so we all wish you a happy birthday. May God continue to bless you with health, strength, courage, will, and prosperity, and grant you the wish that you so desire, and most people wish. It's just those things: good health, strength, and family. Wanting their son, their daughter, their child to prosper in life and get a good education and be a doctor or a lawyer or a barber or a plumber or a seamstress or a tailor, a garbage collector. Boy, no job is believed, because without everybody is important and everybody playing a role. So we all on the Ground Report to have to understand that this is the Pitbull. This is the program, and that's why the program is so big. We have to honor and understand that everybody is equal.
Bang, 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 bang,
Amazing grace.
You understand everybody is equal? And that we can't down a brother who is a plumber, a garbage collector, a shoemaker or repairman, a shoe shiner, a water seller,
but now how sweet.
a Trinidad and Tobagonian that will be walking through the traffic to sell water or to sell a bygone or okra. At least they're doing that and they ain't thieving, they ain't distressing. And we had to honor and watch or anybody as one. Nobody's better than anyone. We might have better careers. That is how the world watch it. But everybody's needed, including the garbage collectors, right?
My chains
So happy birthday to you.
my God, my
Esther Smith. And may God continue to bless you and give you long life, health, strength. And may your wishes be granted, because we know your wishes is a noble one. Not like we boy, I know we boy where he want to live better, he must live better. He was silk, he was AGC house, he was board appointment. A little bit again, he didn't ask for the lotto. He won the lotto board to rig the machine and gave him a 10 million. That's how it is, Oli. Right, so let's get the program going again. What's your front burner this morning, caller? A pleasant good morning to you.
I want to say to the caller, good morning, everybody. I want to say to the caller just now, his brother who died. I want to say shame on the damn army. Shame on them. Cockroach have more powers in foul party now. So shame on all you.
Thank you very much, Miss La Hocketa. Go ahead. A pleasant good morning to you, caller.
Good morning to the Magnificent Tree, and condolences to the family that lose their loved one. But, you know, life had to continue, because why is you giving this Esther, Bode, we have a Esther Mitchell that died. So everybody just had to go through some pain or the other sometime, you know. But one thing I could say, that our government is on the right track. And right now we have 13 people who I wouldn't call them opposition. I will call them 13 people that is grieving very, very badly. And I understand their grief. And I am also studying them as human being, as Trinidadian. And I know how they're going through some difficult time, because they was in power, and you know the story now for what they have done to this country, right? And I'm in sympathy with them, but they must know to watch the place, because right now is not the time and the place for them to be behaving like that, to condemn the government in every little thing to win back an election. If they are true patriotic people, they will stand down for a while and see that this country could rise again, because them who carried it down. So all of us in our little story, Penny, I'm in sympathy with you, girl, and sympathy with Young and both everybody. And I understand the situation, but don't try to keep bringing on the government. Try to uplift them. At least we have 5 years to go, and it's too early for you to try to bring them down, because we had to gain by this government. Okay, Mr. Andy, and good luck to you. As you rightly say, and may God bless you, boy. Nothing will come and harm you. You just keep doing good, and good will come over bad. Trust me on that, brother. Thank you, sir.
Go ahead. A pleasant good morning to you, caller. We're calling from. What's your contribution on the Going Report this morning?
Good morning, Andy. Going Report, family Tunapuna here. Andy, I want to send my respect to that comrade who died, Comrade Carrington, that soldier. And as Lennox and the gentleman said, his brother, when Trinidad was facing his darkest hour in our history, which was in 1990, because he joined the army in 1989. And 1990, 1 year after, Trinidad was facing its darkest hour in a coup that resulted in the destruction of this country and the loss of life and what have you. And he sacrificed his life to serve this country, only to be let down by the hierarchies of the army in terms of that. That mother was facing her darkest hour as well because her son died. And for they to treat her in that manner, Andy, there ought to be an investigation. Because we cannot allow this thing to happen in our military service. Just like as I mentioned yesterday, where I raised the issue, where that officer who went on that training course, defied the order of the Minister of Defense, Mr. Wayne Surge, not to go, and he went. Who authorized him to go? They have to stand the consequences. Similarly, an investigation had to take place with respect to this issue, where a man who served this country in its darkest hour and his family had to be treated like that. I hope God, his soul rests in peace. And let me get down to my main contribution, brother. It is disturbing to see a OJT, who is the leader of the opposition, Penelope Beckel, because she was deputy political leader for some time in the PNM and was never afforded no position to act in the absence of the Prime Minister, let me say to be Deputy Prime Minister, Acting Prime Minister, or anything at all. They just keep her there in the thing. Now that when the PNM has reached the garbage heap, they gave her the leadership of the opposition. But in addition to that, she is just there as just a showcase, because people to say, time for Penny to be the leader and whatnot, but with no criteria to be a leader. Because when you watch it now, it's Cho Chong, it's Keith Rowley, and it's Imbot and all of them is the spokesperson for the party. She is just there as a showpiece. And she is highly irrelevant. And then to hear the dotted questions that she has been asking about this government, what are they doing for this, what are they doing for that, and as you rightfully say, you were there for 10 years and you never opened your blasted mouth to ask a question. Or to even challenge your leader, hey, what you're doing so, it's affecting the people's life and what have you. Huh? You never did anything like that, Andy. And what is even more frightening, Andy, I don't know if you've been listening to Coleman, but within recent times, in fact, up to last night on the news, and was talking about the state of the economy. The government is bankrupt. You remember, this is the same man who was saying, the economy is booming. I can see clearly now, and all this kind of damn nonsense and whatnot. And you cannot account for $3 billion. Huh? All these things, and then when people tell, you crash the economy, all they say no. All they chastise the opposition then. For when they say, you crash the economy. But no, come in, but is coming to tell this country that the government is bankrupt. Who bankrupt this country, Andy? If it is you making that declaration and telling people what? The local banks and them refusing to lend this government money. You know why? This is why when this government, when they fire this governor of the central bank, it's because of his conspiracy with this PNM government. We're now seeing things unfolding with the CEO of First Citizen Bank, where allegations are being made that Keith Rowley, former Prime Minister, was given preferential treatment to foreign exchange and whatnot. And then, so it goes to show you that the whole thing, that PNM controls everything. And there ought to be a thorough investigation. I listened to the Commissioner of Police, Guevara, when he was talking about where they removed those prisoners and them from Golan Grove and these places and had them down in the army base, down there, whatnot. And he said that there is plenty space in these prisons up there. And the time is right. We can't wait no longer. We're running out of time. We have to get back some of our monies that these people, the Cho Chong, the Rohan Sinanan, the Imbot, the Rowley and company, all of them, including the former 2 Attorney General, Faris Al-Rawi and the next one. We have to get back with money. They have room in the jail in Aruka. Time enough thing. DPP, all you get all your act together. The Commissioner of Police, let us start to lay charges, investigate. And forward things to the DPP. Let them do some investigation and lock up people. Lock up. The time reach, Andy, because the outside world is watching me. If we cannot get money borrowed, that's important I'm saying. You think outside world don't want to invest there or lend me money when they see me corrupting and thieving all the money? No accountability, no transparency, crime money rampant and all of that and thing. And nobody's being arrested. That can't be, and the time has reached and Penelope Beckles. I think you should shut your damn mouth, madam. You irrelevant. You and your whole bunch of cronies or they have at the opposition who crash this economy. And you, Penny, talking about, it was laughable, Andy. When she said they had public servant, public servant, and some people and pensioners not getting their money on time and whatnot. And that never used to happen under the PNM, on that call member. And the people now calling and they're wishing that call member was there and whatnot. I see this woman like she's on some kind of substance or something, Andy. Because there was so much issues as it relates to late payments and all this kind of thing. And forfeiture of allowances and whatnot and things. From the poor and underprivileged people and whatnot. The youth and food pulling back food card and all this kind of thing and little benefits to assist poor people. And you talking about call member and everything, Penny? You have to be a mad woman. I don't know if you're married or if you have children or anything at all. Like you don't have feelings. I don't think she has children. I don't know if she's married. Because I never hear them talk about her husband. I never hear about they talk about she has children. So I want to know. I don't know. Like she's a kind of complex character. I don't want to let know and cast no aspersion. But the sentiment that is coming out of this woman, because you never raise no issue as it relates to the poor and suffering under the PNM government, under Keith Rowley. You never promoted no ideas. I think with children abuse and all this kind of thing was concerned or anything. But you want to come and talk about time they should call back the people want to call me back as the Minister of Finance and what have you when he can't come from money thing. And this is why the government is now investigating all these people, the CEO of First Citizen. And if that is found to be true, where Keith Rowley was getting preferential treatment from First Citizen Bank and getting foreign exchange. Here what happening. Keith Rowley as the Prime Minister and you, Miss Dabasi, all you had to make jail. All you had to go to make jail. This is no ordinary thing. And this is why I'm calling on the Commissioner of Police. Brother, launch your investigation early as of yesterday. And let me start to see people. And that's why you see call member is now they're attacking the Minister of Finance and whatnot about what he's doing about the finances of the country and whatnot. You check it out, Andy. All these issues coming about, it's in the Prime Minister made that and really right attack to the banking institutions and the banking sector. And all of them who are involved and who are involved in mafia, the banking sector, and they control the economy. The 1%, the food importers, the pharmaceutical importers. And if Kamala Prasad says on them really serious about it, the time at which you're going to have to take unpopular decisions, people go say you're trying to hold down people and whatnot. If this is what you're doing is right, the people will support you. But the time has reached, we have to start seeing people in handcuffs and going to the prison, Andy. We can't sit down and wait for it and then talking about crime. Crime is not just about the little small people alone. The crime is with the big people who take out the money from this country and aided and assisted by the politician, the then PNM politician and the governor and the central bank and all these people together with some of these financiers and all them kind of thing, Andy. And I am saying, Andy, the time is right now. Because right now, let me forget the opposition. They're irrelevant to the politics of the day. Kamala Prasad says that. And I want to just before let me wrap up. You know, a long time they talk about CARICOM. When we were in a real tough position with money and finances, it wasn't CARICOM, it was everybody to come and carry. We used to give them. No, it's not CARICOM now. It's CARIGON. It's gone. Because all of them who enjoy and they reap the benefits from Trinidad and Tobago. And they now tune in and think and according to the Calypsonian plain clothes, everybody laughing at we in Trinidad. This is what is happening, and them Calypsonian and them, and as you rightfully said, If they did sing on the issues, on the topic of the day over the years when Rowley and them was in power. But you see how it is. All of them had to sing according to John Williams to them. Sing racial calypso, sing about the Indians, sing about UNC and whatnot. And they go win the calypso club monarch and whatnot. That's what Chalky, all of them with Sugar Aloes, Crow, Panther and all of them. That's what it is. That they destroy the greatest art form of calypso. One of the greatest form of music in the world. Because you know why? Calypso used to sing on local, regional and international affairs. No other music you don't hear to sing about that. None. It's only the Calypsonians. And today, look at where that reach. I don't even care to listen to Calypso again, Andy. Because a lot of the great Calypsonians has passed on and hear the nonsense what is passing on for Calypso. And therefore, the PNM has destroyed everything, as you rightfully say, Andy. All institutions, all the entertainment industry and whatnot. Look, I want to show you something, Andy. We used to have one of the greatest things that we used to have with Larry Joseph and Tommy Joseph, the humorous part of it. You know that gone to the dogs now, Andy? We don't have no comedy show, no comedy fest, where people used to go there and sit down and just relax and enjoy themselves and laugh out this. And them has taken away the soul of this country. They have put us in a kind of, I don't know how to put it, Andy, in a period of mourning and grief. This is what the PNM has done to this country. So when PNM and you notice something, Penny is using Keith Rowley conveniently, you know, to attack the government and to make this and that, because she have no things to say. And Keith Rowley wants to keep relevant in the politics. But Rowley, your day come in. Your day come in. I don't want you to dead, you know. I want you to go in the jail and suffer in the and all you. You see the next one who dead, what it was? Lenny Faith, all of them fellas and them who raped this country. Franklin Khan was the next one who dead and gone. All these fellas, all your time coming. But I don't want you to just dead and go. I want the government to seize all your assets. Rohan Sinan and all your Stuart Young, Al-Rawi and everybody rolling. Seize all your assets because all that is state money all you use to sing that. And we have a blessed day, brother. And last of all, we want to celebrate big Independence Day thing and big celebration and whatnot. And look at the comrade who died. To have big military parade and whatnot. And all you couldn't provide just a meager thing as transport for his family in a time of bereavement. What the hell was it? We should never ever have any independence parade again and displaying all the military and whatever. What we have to display? 2 fire truck, 2 boat and all kind of notices. They for that done. Let we independence show we culture. Let it show what we have achieved over the years. That is has no relevance to our politics and nothing in this country. And you all have a blessed day. Enjoy the weekend, Trinidad and Tobago. Everybody be safe. Because you see these predators on them out there. These criminals on them. And I want to tell the police on them, when you catch these fellas on them in a tight spot, open fire. Let them have it. Don't hesitate. Because it's putting this country. And you have a blessed day, my brother.
Nice. Time check is 4 minutes to the hour to 10 o'clock. Go ahead, caller.
Morning, calling from Tobago.
Hey.
That last call said everything. That man was great. What he's saying there is very good what he's saying there. Oh God, it filled my heart with joy. Yes.
All right.
Everything that to be said, he have said it.
Nice, nice. That's Mr. Tunapuna.
Yes, that's correct. Intelligent fellow.
Nice. I hope you're letting everybody. I hope you're letting everybody in Tobago know to lock onto the ground.
Oh, yes, man. No, yes. That's correct.
All right. Yes. All right. What part of Tobago? What part of Tobago are you calling we from there?
Mount St. George.
Mount St. George, man. Yes. Oh boy. Thank you, Tobago.
You're welcome.
Yes, my brother. Oh boy, who gonna make the last call? It's 2 minutes to the hour. Let us have a good morning to Mother Bernie and all our Tobago brothers and sisters across there that are locked on to the #1 program on Guyal or on social media. A pleasant good morning to Tobago. Silver Fox, good morning to you too, man. Who is that last caller? Who making that last call? Who taking that last? Who taking that last 1 minute before we close off? Go ahead.
Andy Williams, good morning to you. You see Monday coming?
Yeah.
Andy Williams have a headache right now, you know. You see this way you like to get these sort of people to talk a whole set of history every day, so it's pay them and penny. Oh God, we have business to talk. We have our own business to talk. I want to say Andy happy and independence. Andy happy independence. So you, the Pitbull. Congratulations to you on your program from Since Incentive. And although you left the radio station, you still show that you had the will and the power through the grace of God to continue with this program on the social media. Andy, my head so hot that I think Monday, come on and let UNC activists talk. Get a day where UNC activists call you.
Why you feel like you the last minute? I say, well, you know, we people have to talk, you know, but let me get them the last minute.
Penny and PNM. Oh gosh, we do what we have to do. Let we move on. In 4 months, it's have an election in Tobago. Every day is penny and PNM, so, and we have issue. Andy, let me tell you this. Day before yesterday, I went down Sugar's and the amount of costs I get from UNC activists. And they tell me this party in power, UNC activists can't put food on the table. But you had the one in Babylon Street, have a set of yellow hampers on the table. Where is the hampers, the independence hampers for the UNC activists? Andy, would you believe the PNM street captains, the area manager, and them still holding down URP position in all the offices in Trinidad and Tobago? And the amount of cost I get from UNT activists walking down Sugar Street, all they do cost me, please. Go to all the councillors, go to all the MP and complain. If this party don't understand that when PNM win, they just throw all the UNC activists out of office. UNC win, and PNM people still controlling the program. Or they don't call me, or they don't tell me nothing. Andy, if you win a lotto, just give me some money, let me get out from Trinidad, please. I'm fed up.
The Ground Report with Mickie K, Andy Williams, and Lennox Smith.
Trying to go and tell Tuesday morning, please God. Thanks so much. You all could have choose anywhere else to lock on. And you all choose the Ground Report. For those of you on Guyal, Trinidad and Tobago, Guyal, Caribbean, thanks so much for choosing the Ground Report. So until, on behalf of the Ground Report team, Mickie K, Lennox Smith, until Monday morning, Tuesday morning, please God. Yours truly, the Pitbull, the dog. Rawr, 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 rawr. I'm out of here.
bang.